Hey guys, this is Connor at Conquest Human Performance, and I want to describe to you today what I call the bad decision cascade. And in private and to myself, I refer to it as the stupid decision cascade. Because you don't really get anything good out of it. But this is how a lot of health and fitness pursuits fall apart, and this is how you get trapped kind of into bad lifestyle habits and just a vicious cycle of making decisions that don't further you in any way. So what I mean is very simple, and you've probably even heard the idea before under a different name, but you make a bad decision that is, if you look at it objectively, it's bad in that it doesn't help you. It doesn't push you further towards any better future. It doesn't help you in this moment. It's just a bad decision. But you make this bad decision 99.999% of the time. It's a decision you made emotionally. I'm sure immediately you can call to mind some examples in your own life. Um, the classic coming home from work pissed off because of something that happened in the office, and then traffic is bad and you're fuming and you get in the door and your willpower's all gone and you decide, I'm just going to have some ice cream and chill out for a little bit because I feel like crap. And that negative emotion, that anger that you carried with you for the last 20 minutes, that led to that decision. It's if you had come home with a level head and with energy in the tank and you felt good, you probably wouldn't have gone to that same let's eat an entire carton of ice cream mindset. So that's a bad decision. For most people, eating a carton of ice cream is going to be a bad decision. Maybe there are examples where it's not, but for most people, bad. It's probably going to lead to a little bit of weight gain. But the cascade part, the stupid decision cascade part, is that you've made this bad decision, and what comes next feeds you or pushes you into a cycle. So you've made the bad decision, and maybe you realize it was a bad decision. You realize it's contradictory to your fitness goals or your lifestyle goals, or it's not healthy for you, or it's not going to make you happy, or whatever. One of your options is to realize that in the moment. And usually what happens if you realize it is you feel worse about yourself. So you go from angry at the office to stuffing your face with ice cream, which makes you feel fantastic for those split seconds. And then you feel bad about yourself afterwards. So you're angry with yourself, you're sad because you don't have the willpower to resist these things, so you look at it. Whatever it might be, you've realized that you made a mistake and it's made you feel worse. And then you can obviously see where this goes. You feel horrible about yourself or your decision, and that negative emotion leads you into another decision that might not be optimal. So that is probably the most common cascade that can happen. And you can see how this would happen with skipping the gym, how it would happen with eating junk food that you shouldn't be eating, or like binging when you shouldn't be binging, because maybe there's an appropriate time to binge for you, who knows. But you can see how it would affect those things. Even the interactions you have in your relationships. If you come home from work and you're fuming and furious and you haven't been able to let out any anger all day, the first person you interact with, I really don't envy them. You would have to be the Buddha to not lose your mind on them or snap at them, or in other ways, just be irritable with them. And if that brings up a problem, it's more likely to make you feel bad in the future too. So that's where that cascade starts. The other way it can go, you bring your emotion to the table, you eat that carton of ice cream. What can happen is you can deny to yourself that it was a problem. And this one is just as dangerous, but probably doesn't happen as much. But you can tell yourself things like, you know what, I had a horrible day. I really needed that ice cream and it made me feel great. And it's a good comfort food. And, I didn't really eat that much earlier today anyways, so it's probably fine. And you justify it to yourself. And what you do in doing that is you not only justify a decision that's clearly not good for you, and if you looked at it objectively, you'd probably see that. Not only do you justify the bad decision, but you're probably in some way justifying the emotion that got you there in the first place. You're not just saying to yourself that ice cream's okay. You're saying that that whole series of events that led you to that ice cream is okay. You're saying that this cycle is okay. You're saying that the whole thing, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no error to fix there. I will just continue to come home from work mad and ice cream be damned. I'm going to eat that entire carton. So that will also lead you into future bad decisions because you've justified it to yourself that it's not a bad decision. And when you hire a coach and they look at it and say, you're eating a carton of ice cream 4 times a week, what the hell is going on? that's going to be a problem because they can look at it objectively. So either way, you're getting yourself into trouble. The negative emotion leads to a bad decision, which leads to a negative emotion, and either you accept it or you deny it, but either way, you're going to get into more trouble. So awareness is a huge piece to avoiding this. If you are pissed off from work and traffic makes it worse, and you come home like that, you have to be mindful that at first, mindful that you're in that state. Because most of the time, you don't want to admit that something's wrong. You just feel irritable. You want to lash out, or you want to binge or do something to ease the pain you're going through, rather than just thinking about it. And if you're mindful in that moment that you get home and you understand, I'm really pissed off, I'm really not happy, that's what you can communicate to your partner. That, you know what, probably just don't talk to me for a little while because I'm going to bite someone's head off. Or you can look at that ice cream and say, is this really a good decision for my diet, or am I just incredibly angry and that's why I'm reaching for it? So you have to be aware in that moment, and it's easier said than done, but there isn't a great fix otherwise. I mean, try to prevent the anger in the first place. Like, you're always going to have traffic. You're always going to have people to deal with that you don't want to deal with. You can try to not let that affect you as much, but chances are at some point you're going to cross this bridge again. So just be aware in those moments, understand what you're doing, understand that you're reaching for the ice cream, or that you're initiating a fight that doesn't need to happen, or whatever. And understand in that moment the consequences to whatever you're doing. Look at it objectively. Realize, be aware in that moment that my anger is going to lead me to a decision that's a problem. And it's not going to make things better for me. I'm just kind of digging myself a deeper ditch or a deeper hole. So awareness in those moments, try to calm yourself down, try to prevent it in the first place, but don't jump onto that cycle, that cascade. Even if you've made that error and you just felt you really needed to eat that ice cream, that can be acceptable too. Just be aware of what you've done, understand what it's going to do with your goals and how it's not helpful to you, and move on from there. But you have to be honest with yourself. All right, so hit like and subscribe on this video. If you have any questions, comments, anything, definitely leave those below, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.